Hi, this is Zay, and I very much enjoyed Lightyear. The thing is, I went into the theatre basically knowing nothing about the film. Not any plot details, not what people thought of it, and it really could have gone either way, but I actually really liked this movie.
Give me that!
Now, I'm going to point out the elephant in the room, and that's that you might not think that this movie should exist in the first place. I mean, with Toy Story 3, the writers were like, "We concluded the story!" And the Disney executives were like, "No, you didn't." So then Toy Story 4 happened, and the writers were like, "We concluded the story!" And the Disney executives were like, "Alright, fine, but how can we keep squeezing money out of this property?" Thing is, I don't care if something's a cash grab. If it's a good movie, I'll pay to see it. Like Fantastic Beasts, that movie was pretty cool. And then I found out that they were planning to make 5 of those things. And you thought the Hobbit trilogy was grasping. Now, this isn't the first defictionalization of Buzz Lightyear that we've had. There was the Buzz Lightyear of Star Command animated show. There was a partial defictionalization of the Buzz Lightyear video game embedded within the Toy Story 3 game. And of course there was the Buzz Lightyear toy, which I myself had when I was a kid. But even so, the concept of this movie was just absurd. Like, it's a serious take on Buzz Lightyear. And that's not to poo-hoo on the character. Toy Story is a beautiful, beautiful franchise. And Buzz is a great character, but the fictional series within Toy Story is not taken seriously at all. It's a parody of Star Wars, or at least it seemed to be. Also, it was implied that it wasn't even taken seriously in the Toy Story universe. You know, like it was a Saturday morning cartoon. I mean, heck, we now have a serious take on Zurg. Freaking Zurg, you know, the guy who's a parody of Darth Vader, but also every sad AM villain. Like, imagine a serious take on Dark Helmet. That's how ridiculous this sounds. Now, to be clear, it's still a fun movie. When I say it takes itself seriously, I mean the same way as Toy Story takes itself seriously. When I say it takes itself seriously, I mean not like a standard Mario platformer, a black comedy, or a sad AM show. The story matters. I think it's supposed to have a cheesy 90s feel, but the filmmaking is very modern. There's really not much retro about it. But yeah, Disney was like, "Would you like to know what Buzz did in the movie Andy watched?" And we were like, "Hey Disney, did you notice how no one freaking asked?" I don't care what Buzz was doing. But partway through watching, I realized I don't care that I don't care. Does that make sense? No? Whatever. Now, a few people have criticized the new design for Buzz in this movie, saying it falls into the uncanny valley. It's interesting talking about character redesigns like this now that we have Ugly Sonic in the Rescue Rangers movie. But Buzz's design isn't bad character design at all, it's just different from what we're used to. They wanted to make Buzz more realistic, and I know that's quite a dirty word in animation, but don't worry. Mars Needs Moms, this is not. Sonic, Ugly Sonic, this is not. It's still very stylized. You might say, why not use the original design? The thing is, Buzz's design in the Toy Story movies is meant to look like plastic. This is supposed to be a real human. When it comes to three-dimensional cartoon characters, people will tell you that there's only one right way to do it, and that anything more realistic is wrong, you know, which is not true at all. You know, it's a sliding scale, and you can choose at what point on the scale you want to be. It's kind of funny though that the teaser poster also showed the iconic figure of the character without showing his face. I don't know. The art style is great, the animation is very pretty, as can be expected from Pixar. It's colorful. There's some great cinematic shots, like when Buzz is alone in one's office. You have a wide shot from the side to show how alone he is. So yeah, the visuals are competently made, but how's the story? Now, this will be a spoilery review. I'll be spoiling the story as it goes along. I will let you know before it gets too spoilery, but you can skip to the time code here if you want to. I would recommend that you go see this movie, and I would recommend that you go in knowing as little as possible, as I did. And just know that it's an endearing science fiction adventure. Otherwise, we'll get into the review. So, the film begins with some text that helpfully clarifies what the movie actually is to anyone unaware. In 1995, a young boy named Andy got an action figure for his birthday. It was from his favorite movie. This is that movie. So then we see the exploration vessel, or the Turnip as Buzz calls it, land on Takani Prime. And then we meet Buzz, who ventures out of the vessel to inspect the planet. Now look, throughout the movie, but especially at the beginning, we have a lot of, for lack of a better word, tugging at fans' nostalgia for Toy Story. You know all the things he says when he's introduced in Toy Story that are played for laughs?
Buzz Lightyear mission log, stardate 4072. My ship is run off course en route to Sector 12.
They're now said in a serious context to tug on that nostalgia. Watching pitch meetings has really made me conscious of that sort of thing. He says that in the first movie, you know? Like, there's the iconic first-person shot of him looking through his helmet, which is pretty cool. But then he says the ground is unstable, and I'm like, okay. A bit of the humor in the opening didn't really do it for me. Like, there's the rookie character. When he's introduced, there's a 10-second long back and forth about how much Buzz doesn't want him there. He keeps cropping up, and I thought he would become a major character in the story. But no, the actual plot takes place 100 years later, with Rookie being long dead. I guess it kind of sets up another character later on. Anyway, Buzz ventures out with his commanding officer and best friend, Alicia Hawthorne. They have trouble with giant aggressive vines and insectoids, and the vines start trying to bring down the Turnip. Buzz rushes to save it and tries to get it off the planet, but because of his arrogance and refusal to accept aid, the Turnip crashes and the ship's crystal, the source of fuel for the hyperdrive, is destroyed, leaving the hundreds of people in cryo stranded on the hostile planet. So Buzz is very ashamed of himself, but Alicia decides that they will extract resources from Takani Prime to make a new crystal, building a settlement in the meantime. So after a time skip, they have the resources to make an imperfect crystal, and Buzz will test this new fuel. There's a running gag where a vine grabs one of the characters and tosses them around, and as far as running gags go, it's okay, I guess. It's only used 3 times. So, Buzz goes out in his ship to slingshot around the planet's star, but fails to achieve hyperspeed due to the flawed crystal, and almost loses his life. When he comes back, he finds that 4 years have passed due to the time dilation. You'd think they would have told him about that, but okay. Buzz and Alicia decide that it's too costly to continue the mission and abandon it. Then she tells him that she got engaged, and importantly, that she would never have met her fiancé if they hadn't been stranded. Now Buzz goes back on his decision and is determined to finish the mission no matter how many attempts it takes. So then we have a sequence which could essentially be described as Interstellar for kids. Buzz attempts the mission again and again, losing more time each time, and comes back to Datati Prime to find Alicia start a family, her family grow up, Alicia grow old, and eventually die. I will admit, it did make me feel something. The movie did succeed in making me care about Alicia. It's like honest trailers said, even Pixar's B material makes you cry. It's also nice to have some LGBT representation done right. You see, Onward had a character who was rightfully criticized at being a thinly veiled attempt from Pixar at appearing accepting of gay people. Like, her lover never appeared, the character had no relevance in the plot. She appeared in one scene, and the scene was cuttable. Well, Alicia is everything that character is not. We see her wife on screen, and the scene is uncuttable. Yet, a negative review I've seen still criticize the character for essentially having the same problem as in Onward, saying that Disney wishes to appear accepting while not giving the couple more than a few minutes of screen time. The thing is, Lightyear is not a story about romance. As Ryan George pointed out in the Pitch Meeting series, for a long time it was a given that the male and female lead in any movie would hook up by the end, a pattern that's only recently starting to shift. Now, Alicia and Kiko's relationship is the only relationship in the movie. It's also plot critical because it results in the existence of Izzy and it's what motivates Buzz during the climax, but we'll get to that in a minute. The scene wasn't cut or altered from foreign markets, resulting in it being banned in many countries. Disney took a massive hit from this. Now, you can doubt that this is for altruistic reasons, and, Disney is a gargantuan corporation with agendas, but whatever the motivation, Disney ultimately chose to plant its feet and do the right thing. Alicia's job is taken by Burnside, who terminates the mission, stating that they will build a laser shield to protect the colony and remain on Dasani indefinitely. Buzz goes home, and by the way, Buzz has a pet robot cat named Socks. He's pretty good, he's pretty funny. Socks finally extrapolates the formula to make a perfect crystal. Again, against Burnside's orders, Buzz breaks into the lab to forge the crystal, but accidentally loses the formula because of course he does, meaning the crystal is now unreplicatable, and steals a ship to test it. He successfully achieves hyperspeed, but when he returns, he finds that 22 years have passed, the laser shield is up, and the planet is under attack from the forces of Zurg. When Zurg learns that Lightyear has returned, he immediately does everything he can to bring Buzz to his ship and take the crystal. So, Buzz teams up with Izzy, Alicia's granddaughter, Mo, the comic relief rookie character that I guess the first rookie was setting up, and Darby, a convict. And together they come up with a plan to destroy Zurg's ship and put an end to the threat, which they must do before Burnside will turn off the laser shield so that they can put the crystal in the turnip and bring everyone home. Pixar films usually have a message, so what's the message here? Well, one message is that you must learn to work as part of a team and not be determined to do everything yourself. Certainly nothing groundbreaking, but whatever. So there's a scene where they must get a ship out of a giant bug's nest, and Buzz demands that he goes his own way and sends the others away, but doesn't tell them that the stealth mode wears off, resulting in everything going pear-shaped and forcing the team to go with him. Then there's a scene where they're all trapped in a room within energy cones which merge on contact, and he has to go into the claustrophobic cone with his team members to break the power box at the risk of being trapped. Again, nothing groundbreaking, but it's not a bad message, so I suppose this is a good time to talk about the casting. Chris Evans is Buzz. People have complained that they replaced Tim Allen, Buzz's iconic voice in Toy Story, but Allen was picked for his comedic roles, which means he wouldn't really fit in this more dramatic story. Chris Evans, obviously known for playing a big strong hero, does a very good job. Sorry to anyone who thinks they castrated the character. Evans said that he initially tried to do a shameless Tim Allen impression, but later developed his own take on the character. Taika Waititi is Mo, which I think is a great choice. Thor Ragnarok showed that he can be a great comic relief character in a sci-fi adventure.
Piss off, Ghost!
The supporting characters, well, they're not the best Pixar characters, but they're certainly not the worst, and the movie made me care for them. Now here's where we get into heavy spoiler territory. If this seems interesting, I'd recommend you go watch the film now. Zurg successfully takes the crystal and Buzz to his ship, where he opens his suit and reveals that he is in fact Buzz from the future. Specifically, a Buzz from an alternate timeline, which is actually the original timeline. The Buzz we've been following is the alternate. The original Buzz left the planet forever after achieving hyperspeed and discovered a ship full of abandoned technology, becoming Zurg. With this tech he can travel back in time using the crystal, but he needs the one from the past because he wore out his. A lot of people hated this twist, so it may surprise you to know that, for me, this was the best Disney twist villain I've seen in a while, and elevated the film. Modern Disney is notorious for having obvious red herring villains that only kids will be fooled by, with the actual villain being very transparent, and also having nonsensical motivations. Now, I thought Burnside would become Zurg in the 22 years that Buzz traveled, having turned the colony into a dictatorship. When we saw him fighting the Zurg robots, I still thought it was possible that he was managing both sides. When we see an older Buzz in the suit, he initially thinks it's his father, in a nod to that Star Wars joke in Toy Story 2.
You killed my father!
No, Buzz. I am your father.
This would have been a very shoddy twist, since Buzz's dad is never seen or even alluded to prior to this point, but yeah, they actually do a good job of tricking you into thinking Zurg Buzz is actually good and that he'll work together with our Buzz to stop Burnside and get the crystal and the turnip. However, Zurg's plan is to use the crystal to travel back in time and undo his mistake, which led to everyone getting stranded. Buzz realizes that this would mean Alicia and Kiko never met, Izzy will get erased from existence, and everyone's lives on Takani will be undone. He tries to leave with the crystal, but when Zurg makes it clear he's not going to let that happen, an alternate Sox saves Buzz, and he and his friends aim to destroy the ship and get out. Again, having a serious take on Zurg is so weird. It might be a bit intentionally cheesy when he's introduced, but in the climax he's played completely seriously. Honestly, to me he never even really registered as a Darth Vader clone, except again in his introduction scene. If anything, he reminded me of Ironmonger. He's played by James Brolin, who gives a good performance. I find it kind of funny that, like his son, he now also plays a big purple space baddie who wants to use multicolored crystals to erase a civilization from existence. He even tells Buzz, paraphrased, that the people he's helping won't know what they have lost, only what they've been given. Obviously that's just coincidence. Zurg's goal and motivation make sense. It's believable that Buzz turned out this way in the original timeline because undoing his mistake is what's been driving him throughout the whole movie. Even when Zurg introduces his plan to Buzz, he is tempted to help Zurg, and it's only because of the time Buzz spent with his friends that he declines. As Shafril has said about Charles Munn, spending decades alone in a ship with only talking animals for company could conceivably drive someone off the deep end. It's shocking, it's shocking to see Zurg actually smash Sox, a companion he's spent decades with. Then there's an awesome fight scene between Buzz and Zurg with gravity disabled for part of it. The team destroy the ship and escape with the crystal, seemingly killing Zurg, only for him to show up on Buzz's ship and take the crystal. In the process, he records a mission log under the name Buzz Lightyear, which is terrifying. It really hammers home that this is Buzz, that this is what he's become due to his stubbornness to move on and accept the past. He takes aim to kill our Buzz, but Buzz ejects and says, "Not today, Zurg." So we have a bit more of that at the end. Then Buzz shoots the crystal, destroying it along with Zurg. Buzz and his friends land, where Buzz reveals that he destroyed the crystal. However, he's accepted living on Takani Prime, which ties into the other theme of the story, that we should move on and stop trying to change the past. Then they steal the ending of Star Fox 64.
Starbuck, we are in your debt.
I would be honored to have you as part of the Cornerian...
Oh, no, sir. We prefer doing things our own way.
Burnside offers Buzz a position as the leader of an army, but Buzz declines, choosing instead to continue working with his friends in a small team. Buzz and his friends look towards the future, and that's the movie. There's a humorous scene at the end of the credits, which I won't spoil from you. I'm the guy who sits and watches the entire credits of every movie I go to, even though I know there won't be anything at the end. So with this movie I was like, oh, there actually is a scene at the end. I wasn't expecting that. I was a bit confused as to how this movie fits in with the Buzz Lightyear toy. Again, the intro said that the toy was from the movie, and I guess in the Toy Story universe it's a live action movie. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when watching Toy Story, but I thought that Buzz Lightyear was a show. Now, you could say that it's a movie with an animated TV adaptation, kind of like Ghostbusters or The Mask. But this fictional property seemed to be something that didn't take itself seriously. The back of the box says, "I defend the galaxy from the evil Emperor Zurg." Buzz never leaves the star system in the film, and Zurg dies in their first confrontation. Whatever, I don't care. When you get past the ridiculous premise and all of the nostalgia bait, this is another finely crafted story from Pixar. You could compare it to Cruella, a case of Disney making origin stories for characters that did not require origin stories, but the difference is that Lightyear is a good movie and Cruella is not. It's not a Toy Story experience, and it wasn't intended to be, but it does have that distinct Pixar feel. It doesn't hold a candle to Pixar's previous science fiction film, but if you like sci-fi or are a Pixar fan, I'd say give it a shot. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you for watching. And if you liked it, you can feel free to click the like button, subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you. See you. But yeah, Toy Story 3 left some loose threads, and Toy Story 4 was beautiful. Now we have had the fictionalization. That's not conducive to good filming setup. Okay, please buy me a tripod.